This video is going to be a little different today. Not planning on playing a game. Haven't watched any movies for me to review. No comic books involved, superheroes. This is going to be more of a serious video than I would like to be doing, but it's just something that's been on my mind for a bit that, you know, other people have asked me, and I feel like it's something that may not just be from one person, it may be from many different people. If you haven't read the title, you know, this whole segment is going to pretty much be on my role as a father. And I've been pushing off this video for quite some time because I didn't know how to put it in words, but anytime somebody asked me about it, I seem to know the words then. But I'm going to try my best to do it in a video, so that way even people that don't know me could have a little insight. This is not a tutorial. This is not advice. This is just things that people have asked me beforehand on how I do as a parent. Nevertheless, a single parent. So, I mean, I can just jump right into it and we can just start off with who I am. If you've played any games with me on Steam, I go by Dr. Method. If you've watched anything from the beginning of my channel, I go as Johnny Method, but to the daily public, civilians, pedestrians, random people, I'm just Johnny. I did have two parents. It sounds weird for me saying that, but believe it or not, some people end up losing a parent. But I do have two parents. They were, I don't quite know how to put that, because yeah, they were around sometimes. It's not more or less they were neglecting us, they were just always working. Whose parents aren't always working in today's economy? I mean, hell, even right now, I was constantly working. I never saw my kid. But, you know, we lived in some weird parts of Dallas and other places that people may have not heard of, and it wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't fantastic. You know, you ate whatever was on the table. If you didn't eat, you just didn't eat. And there are times where I was just stubborn enough where, you know what, fuck it, I guess I'm not eating today. There were some bumpy roads here and there. I'm not saying I had a bad life. I mean, I always put that mindset that somebody else out there has had it worse than me. Plenty of people have had it way worse than me. I don't even consider myself in that criteria of bad. You know, there were times where sleeping on the floor was normal, and getting a TV for Christmas and nothing else was normal. A lot of people in my family, you know, from my mother's side, maybe not so much my father's side, but mostly on my mother's side, these were considered normal things to us. And it kind of developed us in certain ways, in different ways, I would say. My brother was the youngest, and he didn't quite see much of that in the beginning. And my sister, being the oldest by 10 months, was kind of side by side with me throughout most of it. And these things kind of develop who we are as a person. And I love my family for who they are, but it just comes back around to they weren't the best influencers. I took that differently. I think they were some of the greatest influencers, because in a sense, both of my parents and their bad decisions, and even aunts and uncles and cousins, whatever. I'm Hispanic. We have that big family tree. I took all their bad habits and I did the opposite. They were everything I did not want to be. So I consider them great influencers in that sense, which is who I am today. I was always playing a video game, always reading a comic book or reading stories, watching cartoons, I learned to be creative, I learned to be innovative, and I learned that you should always do what's right. And that happening made me who I am today. So this video isn't for me to bash on anyone saying they were so awful that they turned me to be a good person. No, it wasn't that at all. We all have demons in some way or form. And that's just what I want to get across about who I am. I want to do the right thing regardless of what situation it puts me in. And some cases that makes me look like an asshole, or it makes me look like a douchebag. And that's just right now. Growing up, I went through many different stages to find out what works and what doesn't. I hated people in the beginning. I dislike people often based on their decisions. And then I've later just evolved into something to where it's like, it's not my life. They do what they do because they can. And I just took that and I realized you can't change something you have no control over. And if you don't, you just got to learn to go with the flow, so they say. But instead of, trying to change it, you go with that flow and you notice it won't change, but at the same time, it's not all that bad. Yes, there are people I dislike, there are people I do not like because of their decisions, but I learned to live with it because they're going to be around. You can't change that either. But that's a bit about me. That's just where I'm come from. That's where my state of mind is and how that affects my parenting. This sounds very bad, but I like to think of my son as an experiment. I want to see what works. See, because how I grew up, I took all the negative parts around me and I reversed it. I wanted to be the opposite. I didn't want to do alcohol. I didn't want to do drugs. I didn't want to go to clubs and parties to where things could end up going south. I wanted to just be the opposite. Now, it's different with my son because it's like, okay, Johnny, how do you want to use this same method on your son? Wouldn't that make him evil in comic book slang? No, I want to do something different. I want to take everything I've learned throughout my times here, things I've learned on my own, and just take that hat off and give it to him. It's a little bit more sentimental to me when he does wear my ball caps, because it's like, it's gonna happen. He's gonna develop his own knowledge. He's gonna create his own ideas, and he's gonna have a stepping stone for that. He's gonna have a head start I did not have. And that's what is probably gonna make him great. And I'm always gonna think that. I'm always think he's gonna be great. Whether he's the next president of the United States, the next, astronaut, or even the next Hitler, before you freak out, that's meant to be an analogy of some sort. It's not meant for him to be the next Hitler. It's just saying no matter what he does, he's going to be great. His name is going to be well known. I go in with that mentality to push me to make sure he gets there. The way that I dad is, you have one child. And, you may have multiple, but we're focusing on one right now. You may have one child. Anything you do could fuck up this kid's life. Anything at all. Now, this story I'm giving you, that could be used towards parents that are together, parents that are separated, or just even being that parent that's not really the parent. it comes down to thinking about what you want from this child. And it's all up to you, pretty much. You brought him into the world. It's up to you to decide where he goes, where he or she goes from there. This is kind of a tough subject because people don't want to be told, hey, you can't tell me how to raise my child. When you have your own kid, you can do that yourself. I've been told that plenty of times, but this isn't advice. This isn't a tutorial. This isn't how do you be a parent. This is how I become a parent. And some people, they just ask. They're not asking for advice. They just want to know. I've had friends that just had kids this year that have no idea what the hell they're doing. And some are just winging it. Some are just kind of trying to stay back because they don't want to break anything. And what I do is I go with the flow. I go with the wind. I throw ideas out there, see what works, see what doesn't. I've come up with 5 different ways to put my son to sleep as a child. And a handful of them work. You're gonna have some trials and errors. Usually with him, it's music. Sometimes it's dancing while you're holding him. Whatever works. Each kid is gonna be different. And it's just a matter of taking your time, learn. It's always gonna be a learning experience. I learn new things about my son every day. I took him to school today, and what he had for breakfast was a peanut butter sandwich. He had one after school too. I just learned that my kid has this weird craving for peanut butter. He even ate it out of a jar the other day with a spoon. That's good. Protein. Okay, I'll learn from that. What could I invest on that? Peanut butter crackers? Maybe mix it up a bit, slice up some bananas in there. It's a learning thing. You're in school now, while he's in school, or she. You're in school, learn. And then don't just stop there. I mean, go look up articles. What happens when this happens? What should I do when this happens? Ask questions. Don't be, with so much pride and just be confused and just think, whatever the fuck happens, happens. No, these kids are fragile. Their mind is still developing. I mean, if they're crying because they're hungry and you don't know and you're just going to let them cry, they're going to end up growing up thinking, okay, you know what? This pain in my stomach, I've already dealt with it before. I can deal with it again. Parenting is hard. Some say it's easy because they've had more than one kid, but parenting is truly hard. And one of the hardest things about it is whatever you mess up on is permanent. I've noticed that with other kids where they pick up a bad habit and you can't break them for it. That's who they are now. That's their personality. They've been taught that since before they were walking. It's difficult. But at the same time, you need to know that this is going to be your best friend till he goes off to college, or even further than that, till the day you die. This is your best friend. And he's going to love you based on how you do things. Like with my parents, I consider my mother my best friend. She's awesome. We had the same quirky jokes. Okay, I'm lying. She laughs at my quirky jokes, and she just listens. But she laughs, and that means we have the same sense of humor. We watch things together. This woman's actually the damn reason why I don't mind watching a chick flick. Sometimes I even offer, a specific chick flick, and it's like, hey, let's watch this. And I get eyeballs from all different corners of the room staring at me like, what? Now, my father, on the other hand, this is where it comes in. My father is there, but then not there. He goes to work, comes home, sleeps. Goes to work, goes home, sleeps. And even at times when they split, he's gone for weeks and maybe months at a time. We don't hear from him. So me and him have more in common than we think. But it's not enough to where you haven't taught me anything. And he's fully aware of that. We've had this talk where I do not consider him my father, but a friend. Do I enjoy when he comes to hang out? Yes. We have a lot in common. Of course. That's what friends are. But shaving, I was taught by someone else. How to tie a tie, had to learn it myself. All these different problems, he was not there for. And that comes to the next point of how I be a dad. You can't just be there for the fun stuff. You got to be there for the hard stuff too. When they fall down, how do you handle it? Do you want to be the other parent that, nurtures? Because then he has two. Most moms, they nurture. That's what they do. It's just their instinct to do that. But as my job is to teach him how to endure pain, because there's going to be plenty of it. There's going to be more than one fall. There's going to be football practice where you get hit. A girl's going to break your heart. I got to teach him how to endure that. To be able to take that feeling and put it somewhere else. Whether it's painting, a video game, watching a movie, getting a punching bag, something. It's our job as parents to develop these kids as best we can. How I dad is, I took everything in my life and I destroyed it. It is now revolving around him. There is no more you. There is no more me. It's just them. And that's what you gotta do. I mean, granted, me and his mother are separated. So I get him every other weekend. Do I still want to do things on my own free time? Yes, I would love to. But when he steps through that door, the world disappears. That's what I do. Because the moment I ignore him and neglect him, he's gonna remember that. They always remember. Even when I worked overnight shifts, I was tired. I was dead tired. For a good while, I just doped up on energy drinks just to make whatever fuel I had in the tank go. Make it work. Take that dollar, make it work. And it did for a little while. And then there were times where I would just crash. I would be burnt down, and I would wake up, it'd already be nighttime and he'd be asleep. I wasted my entire day sleeping. So I got back on the bandwagon with that, and I just kept pushing forward, I can sleep later. I can sleep when he sleeps. I can sleep when he's not here. I can do all of these things when he's not around. But for now, I just need to find the will to do it. It's not about trying. It's not about any of that. It's about doing it. If you fail, try again. If you mess up, try again. You have plenty of opportunities before he realizes dad's never around. And that's what a lot of parents are going to be doing. That's what a lot of dads that I know that are my friends are going to be doing. They still want their freedom. You don't get that, buddy. Your freedom does not exist anymore when you have a kid. It's them. Always. It sucks at first. You're not going to be able to go out with some of your friends anymore. You're not going to be able to play the games you want to play, the ones that just come out. I got games sitting on my shelf that I haven't even touched because I just don't have the time for it. And that's okay, because they'll still be there when he goes to sleep. They'll still be there when he goes home. It's not the end of the world. It's scary doing this. It's scary being this person. But you're going to be that superhero one day. One day soon. Like when my son looks up to me and he thinks dad can do everything. When something's broken, dad can fix it. Does dad know how to fix it? No. But I find out how to fix it. I don't stop at a brick wall. I climb over it. There are going to be some more videos about this at some point, because this is just something I wanted to summarize. I'll get into more details about certain things and certain bumps that we've gone through, but this video is just to pretty much explain how I do things. And the best thing about learning from somebody else is you can take their idea and make it into something new that you've created, modifying it to make it work for you. Is it plagiarizing? No, it's your idea now. You just had help. Now I want to do something that I've never done on this channel before. I've always had this rule where you did not have to like the video. I told you to dislike it if you do, because I do want honesty. And I've never asked you to subscribe, never asked you to share. I've only cared about views, to see who's watching. But this time I do want you to share this video with someone. Maybe a new parent that has no idea what they're doing. Maybe it's a friend that's expecting a child sometime soon, that are scared shitless about what the hell they're doing. I'm not showing off anything. I think my son's the best in the world, and I'm a parent, so I think everybody thinks that. But this is to show you that it's doable. I'm 24 years old. I don't have a college degree. And I'm sitting here talking to a camera. For what? Why? People don't watch my shit. Even on the little counter on these videos, there's one person. And that's all that matters, if somebody watches it. Because I wish somebody had told me these things. Maybe it'll be easier for you. Man, that's all I have for today, really. I'll come up with another video, maybe some troubles, or maybe if you have anything specific you want to know. How do I deal with separation? Because, you know, me and his mom were separated, and now we have a kid that we have to share. How do I deal with that? How did I deal with his first day of school? How did I deal when he was taken to the emergency room? Anything you want to know, just let me know. I'll dig into this library of mine and pull out the file, and I'll explain what happened and how I handled it. But until that happens, I'll see you on the other side.